Hey guys, TJ from PC Gamer here. Today I want to talk about eSports, why I love it, and why I think you should be watching it. There seem to be a few main reasons I hear for why people haven't gotten into the eSports scene. Some of them don't seem to think video games are a real sport, quote, on real. Some don't like sports in general, so they don't really see why this would be any different, and some just seem to be under the impression that they're boring, bland, or too hard to understand. At the end of the day, debating whether games like StarCraft 2 or League of Legends are actually sports is kind of a pointless semantic argument. What makes any competition interesting is watching two very skilled opponents struggle for victory in a setting where the outcome is uncertain and the moment-to-moment back and forth keeps you on your toes. Esports has that in spades. Whether or not you want to call them sports, they showcase people with amazing critical thinking, planning, and decision-making skills, and frankly, near-inhuman reflexes as well. The level of focus and multitasking it takes to play at a professional level in a game like StarCraft 2 is just mind-boggling, and the team cohesion and communication skills needed to succeed in Dota 2 or League of Legends at the professional level is just as exemplary as any team sport. Go give it a try yourself if you don't believe me. Speaking of which, that's another great thing about the esports scene. You can jump right into these same games on the same maps with the same units or heroes available to you at any time. And you can try to replicate what you saw a pro player doing at a tournament. It's a really interesting community dynamic. In traditional sports, you don't really get that element of interacting with other people who are really seriously playing the game as opposed to just watching it. You don't see a lot of NBA basketball forums where people post videos of themselves making really sick jump shots. It's something that's fairly unique to esports. Maybe you feel like it's not for you because it's too dull or too complicated. That's a reasonable initial reaction. StarCraft, for instance, has a lot of different units and unit combinations with very complex relationships to each other, to say nothing of the dozens of heroes in Dota 2 and League of Legends. The thing is, with today's game visuals, that doesn't really matter. It only takes watching maybe half a dozen StarCraft matches to start intuitively picking up on stuff like, hey, those dune buggies with the flamethrowers are really good against the fast little dinosaur guys. And there are plenty of laser beams and explosions to keep you occupied as you grow more familiar with what's actually going on behind the scenes. Before long, you'll start developing associations with the different teams and players. You'll have your favorites and your least favorites, and once you have someone to root for, as any traditional sports fan can attest, the emotional highs and lows that each new tournament bring are really breathtaking. But maybe you're like me. Maybe growing up, professional sports weren't really a big part of your life, and you don't understand how esports will be any different. I mean, I spent plenty of time outside as a kid, wandering around and exploring, riding my bike. I was far from the iconic couch potato, but formal organized sports, both in terms of watching and participating, didn't hold a lot of interest for me. What took their place was playing Warcraft 2, StarCraft, and later Warcraft 3. I knew the ins and outs of those games. I dove into all the mods that were coming out. I kept up with the ones that were really popular, like Defense of the Ancients. And as a result, I built this real connection with those games and their communities. Chances are, since you are watching this on PC Gamer, you've had similar experiences. What that led to for me was when esports started gaining ground in the West, around the time of the StarCraft 2 beta and the rise in popularity of League of Legends, I had this very tangible history and association with what was going on. Even though these pro players were using tactics and strategies I could never pull off and sometimes couldn't even understand, it was awesome to see these games I cared so much about played on such a high level. And it unlocked this whole new way to look at and appreciate one of my favorite hobbies. Plus, I finally started to understand the traditional sports nuts in my life. These people who I'd always had such a huge disconnect with and found difficult to understand, people who probably felt something similar about me. Suddenly, I wanted to know more about the players and the teams and who was really known for certain styles of play. I started talking about really good plays with other esports fans. It was almost funny how similar it was to what I'd seen from these mainstream sports fans I'd been scratching my head about for so long. Put in this new context, I totally understood the appeal. For that reason, I really think every PC gamer should give esports a fair shot. If for no other reason than I want to share the enrichment and enlightenment they have brought to me in the last few years. Plus, I'm always looking to meet new people to pick apart the latest DreamHack or MLG with around the digital water cooler. If you had asked me in early 2010 if I ever thought I'd be planning my weekends around watching a StarCraft tournament, I probably would have raised an eyebrow at you. And yet here I am. I'm feeling the highs and lows of watching my favorite players and teams succeed or fail. I'm getting into in-depth, gritty discussions about game mechanics, rules changes, and tournament controversies. I'm addicted, and I'm loving every minute of it. eSports. Give it a shot. Good luck and have fun.
Probably's actually like, well, he might actually subscribe to the MLG Call of Duty channel because he got some really good sniper shots from across the map here. No scope whatsoever.